Now we're going to make the hinge components for our flexi animal. These are the components that we're going to make: the section cutout, the hinge cutout, and the hinge itself. After we make each component, we're going to save them to our custom shapes so that we can use them in future projects. And they'll appear here. If you click and choose your creations, you can see that I have the section cutout, the hinge cutout, and the hinge in place. The section cutout is very easy. We'll go back to basic shapes and pull out the hole box, the box that's set to be a hole. And the dimensions are 20 by 5.5 by 1. So we'll make this 1 millimeter wide. That will be the gap when we cut our model into pieces. And the size of the model is 5.5. So to allow a little extra height here, we'll make this 5.55. Next, for the hinge cutout, we'll drag another box out. We know it needs to be 5.55 millimeters tall. And if we look at this cube, yep, that's what it is. And the X and Y is the same. So it will be 5.55 and 5.55. All right, those two pieces are done. Now for the hinge, I'll tap the F key to zoom in and take a closer look. And I notice that it's been grouped. So I'm going to click ungroup until I can't click it anymore. So that shows the various components of the hinge. We have a wedge and another wedge. So I can hide each of those in turn so we can further examine what's going on here. We have a polygon, looks like 8 sides, an octagon. I'll hide that one as well. Then we have the hole, which is also an octagon. I'll hide that. And finally, we have the pin in the middle, which is a polygon of 8 sides. We'll start by dragging out a polygon. And the first thing we want to do is make sure that it has 8 sides. So I'll change the 6 to 8. Close that. I don't like the dark color, so I'm going to go ahead and make that yellow so I can see it more easily. Look at it from the top, and you'll see that the octagon is rotated. So we're going to need to rotate that 22.5 degrees to ensure that the bottom edge is flat. Our pin is 6 millimeters tall, so we'll change the height to 6, and it's 2 by 2, so we'll change that to 2 and 2. Okay, we've got the pin. Click the light bulb to show all the other pieces. If I click that whole piece, that is 4 by 2.7 by 2.7. Instead of dragging out another polygon from the side, I'm just going to duplicate the pin, move it over, and adjust the dimensions accordingly. 4 millimeters tall. Zoom in, and it was, what was it? 2.75. 2.75 by 2.75, and it's a hole. Okay. We've got that. And this other one, the orange piece, is 4 by 5.5 by 5.5. Okay, I'll duplicate this polygon. 4 is okay, and it's 5.5 by 5.5. And we'll make it solid. I'll make it orange so that it matches the sample that we're working from. Okay, so the hole is in the middle of this polygon. We will click the Align tool and align from right to left and front to back. And while they're both selected, click Group. Now we'll put the pin in the middle, and we can align those two pieces side to side, front to back, and up and down, and group. So we're almost done. We just need to add these wedge shapes here. Here's the wedge. Again, it's gigantic. So I'll zoom out so we can see better what's going on. We need to rotate it this way and onto its side. Tap the D key to make sure it's flat on the print bed. Look at it from the top. Okay, looking at the sample, I focus in 2.7 by 2.7, and we know it's going to be 4 millimeters tall to be flush with the large octagon. So 4 millimeters tall, 2.75 by 2.75. Okay, and I'll just make that red to match the sample. Select those shapes and tap the F key to zoom in so I can see better what I'm doing. I'll tap top so I'm looking straight down. Now I want to align the outer edges of the wedge and that shape there. So I'm going to select both of those, tap align, and I don't want the yellow shape to move, so I'm going to tap it again. And now when I tap the align handles, only the wedge will move. Okay, that looks good, except I need to make sure to raise it up as well. I could use align again and tap the yellow piece so that doesn't move, and just make sure that they're centered that way. Looking from the top, I'll deselect, click just on the wedge, click duplicate, use the arrow keys to move it up, and I'll rotate it 90 degrees. Select just the top wedge and the yellow shape, click align, click the yellow shape again to deselect it, and then align the wedge so the top edges align and the left edges align. I'll rotate around my object to make sure everything is looking the way it should. Now I can select everything and group one last time. So I now have made from the samples, I now have my hinge cutout, and my section cutout. So I'll save each piece. I'll click on the hinge first, click on basic shapes and choose your creations. I'll click create shape. I'll give it a name, flexi hinge, and I'm going to lock the size so that when I'm placing the hinge on my flexi animal models, I won't accidentally resize it, and that will cause problems. So now I would click Save Shape. I won't do that because I've already done it. And what you'll see is that your flexi hinge model will now be under your creations, and you'll be able to just click and drag it out whenever you want. We'll do the same for the other shapes. Click on the hinge cutout, click Create Shape, give it a name, flexi hinge cutout. Click to lock the part size to prevent rescaling, and click Save Shape. And finally, for the section cutout, choose Create Shape, give it a name, Flexi Section Cutout, click Lock Size, and click Save Shape. All right, now we're ready to create our animal model and add the hinges.